Welcome to The Difference. Today we're going to talk about a year of podcasting. Stay tuned.
You are listening to The Difference, a presentation from The Hour, a 54-year ministry. Steve, first we started on radio, then went to television, then we went streaming online. So at Our Stream, you can watch our programming from all those years. So it's at thehour.org. And now, here we are.
Welcome back. Anthony, it's hard to think that we've been doing this for a year now, that The Difference became our new path, and as we started with just audio and now are doing video, we've done a lot of episodes, over 30.
Yeah, and some really good conversations.
Yeah, incredible conversations. Some
of them even with other people.
Exactly.
Most of the good ones were us, but
exactly. You know. Well, and we've reached into our archived and reformatted some things, which we're going to continue to do. But as I was thinking about today's episode, I was just thinking, I think it's time for us to just reflect on the year we've had, but also to have a conversation with those who listen about how we do things and why we do things and really what we need from them.
Right. And, you know, there are some people that have been with us for many, many years and know the history of the Methodist Hour and know the history of we were on radio and then television and then all of these things. But this new iteration is something that I'm really liking because it is a conversation. And I think the world has gone to a different kind of, people aren't clamoring for sermons and Sunday school time. You know, it's more about conversations. And I think about the stories of Jesus being a model of his teaching of telling stories. Right. And I think that that's why I'm drawn to this format, because it's conversations and we bring people on, or you and I are talking with each other and we're sharing stories. That was a biblical model, I think.
Exactly. Well, and when Jesus, even when he was teaching, it was contextual. He was with the people he wanted to hear. He was in their midst. He was saying things that touched facets of their life that were important to them. And I think that's what we've tried to do on The Difference. And as I was thinking about this conversation, I was just thinking about the evolution of the time we've been together, and even before, when the Hour was struggling, and I came to the conference, and we kind of became the road show, trying to find a home to be and rambling about, and yet people were so supportive. And at that time, our financial support came from a base of little Sunday school classes and churches and the annual conference and individuals who'd been faithful, loyal listeners to the show for, a lot of their life.
Right.
And then COVID hit and culture changed and kind of the media became flooded, as you said, with everybody could be online preaching.
Right.
And so we had to kind of back up and say, well, we don't need more of that. What is it we need? And taking your passion for the arts and creativity and my passion for social service and the needs of those who are doing good, we came up with the idea of The Difference, that we would spend our time telling stories about difference makers. And we've had a great response, but behind the scenes, what we've had to do is make a ton of adjustments.
We have, and one of the biggest adjustments years ago, the Hour had a a facility, a whole building.
Yeah.
And I remember, Carolyn Hood's counseling office was a part of that facility. There was a restaurant at one
Yeah,
time,
coffee house upstairs.
and that was in Hattiesburg. I
yeah.
mean, and they would record things there. And I was a part of that facility for a time. I mean,
And
so
even before that, there was a TV,
there
literally a
was
station,
station.
on Highway 49.
And before that, we were the TV station in Starkville, some in Jackson area.
Exactly.
So we've had a variety of things. Then we set up a studio at one point in our garage, and we've been in broadcast from everywhere and on
Yeah.
the road and that sort of thing. But now we've come to a point where we don't need all of that,
Right.
and Mississippi College stepped up for us professionally with being providing a place for our Institute for Southern Storytelling. So our professional lives, we are now mentoring students there at MC, and that's wonderful. The last couple of weeks, we had Nate Brock, one of our students,
Exactly.
on. Great conversation. We just have some wonderful kids out here who are wanting to tell stories through music, art, animation, books, film, lots of things, and they're plugging into the projects we're doing. But by having a facility, by having a space where you and I could come together and do this, we didn't need to be replicating things. The
No.
hour doesn't need to be paying for facilities or something. So when we started talking about this podcast, we said, let's do it right here in the hub of all the other creative activity in my life and our world. And it's that old thing of I see the world through a Christian lens because I'm a Christian. All of our work, we don't have a time where we turn off and okay, now our work is done. We work at home. We
Right.
dream at home. We're on the road. If we go to Disney, we're coming up with new ideas for when we get back to how to further tell stories. So the podcast and the difference and what we wanted to do with that naturally flows into just as we go.
Right.
That's part of our journey, and it made sense here. And Mississippi College, which is about to become Mississippi Christian next year in our bicentennial, that's part of our mission. It's going to be in our name.
Exactly.
So our inspirational, hopefully, podcast here fits into that mission, and we can include other students. We can include things. More and more, we're going to be able to share the good things that are happening, not only through the Institute, not only through the college, but also through the state at large and people
Right.
museums, all kinds of different opportunities that we have coming up. But now we have a place to do that, and the hour is not having to pay for that.
And the cool thing is most of our partnerships that we're developing are organic. I think about, our relationship whenever we have board meetings or we have gatherings. The Methodist Foundation of Mississippi provides
Right.
us with facilities and space. When we start talking about difference makers, even here at the hour, we've partnered already with an advisory team called Road to Recovery that we now, as part of our mission, kind of administer the distribution of their funds to people who are in recovery. And as we move ahead, we've partnered with them in buying bicycles to help people who are in recovery have transportation and physical exercise. And as we look to the next year, we're looking at taking time of having a banquet to celebrate individuals who are difference makers. And so as we watch this, we're seeing the scope of the vision God's giving us kind of grow, and yet we're caught in kind of this tension. I mean, the equipment we have, donated by Josh Raggio,
Right.
who is an incredible duck call maker, and he had said, Brother Steve, I've got some equipment I used to use. You want to use it? And so we've been using his equipment, and so we've done everything we can to kind of, without adding to our financial expenses, continue telling these stories. And as we move ahead, as executive director, and you as the creative producer and the energy behind this, part of our backside responsibility is figuring out how do we continue to support financially this ministry. And I know that, as soon as you say those words, people are like, but you know what? We ask for money unabashedly because we believe what we're doing makes a difference, as well as tells the stories of the difference.
And we rarely ask for money. I mean,
No,
and bring that up. I hate asking for money.
I
I
know.
detest that. And I hate it with the Institute, but I believe in that mission. I believe in the mission of the difference and the hour and what we're doing here because we need more hope and encouragement
Right.
now more than ever. I mean, we really do. And I think these type of conversations are important. And you never know who's going to come across one and that connects with them, but there is a cost with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to eat, we have to go to the doctor, so there are costs involved with keeping all of these things going. And my encouragement to folks is, especially coming upon the holiday season, that is a time where a lot of people think about their end of the year gifts and
Right.
that sort of thing. There are different things that you can give to than maybe, and I'm not trying to take anything from anybody else, but I think
Right.
some people you get to a point of you give and give and give in a certain way, and then you're like, I'm ready for a new opportunity. I'm ready
Right.
for a new challenge, a new thing. And I think something like this, our needs are so minor compared to
Oh,
other
exactly.
organizations that every dollar given here goes a long, long way.
Yeah, and it always has. The part of the pride we had with the hour was over 80% of our budget was funded by $50 or less gifts from
Right.
individuals who constantly were happy with what we were doing and excited about it. Sunday school classes that 3 or 4 times a year would send us. And so what's happened over the last several years with all the kind of turmoil within the United Methodist Church, with a lot of the challenges individual churches are facing, we're having to rethink
Right.
how we fund ourselves. We asked the United Methodist Conference to take us out of their mission shares because we knew they didn't really have the resources to support that. And we have a lot of the churches have taken money they had to redirect towards their own budget. And so now we want to go to a grassroots kind of basis and say, we're not asking you to give, we're asking you to invest in our vision
Hmm.
of telling the stories of the difference makers. And if we
Right.
get enough people to do that, then a lot of little gifts make a lot.
Well, and we've seen over and over all through the years where you mentioned James Moore, that
Hmm.
connection and the road to recovery kind of ministry. There have been so many ministries that we've come alongside of and
Right.
partnered with and helped to shine a light on different things and different people.
Wells Fest, just,
I
so
mean,
many
we've done
things.
so
Yes.
many things over the years, and um, we've been a very giving organization and trying to help any way that we could with folks. Um, this time of year, we generally have to come and then ask for help ourselves because
Exactly.
it does cost to do that. And I know people are bombarded all around from public television to this and this and this.
Right.
Um, there is an eternal element to what we do.
Yeah.
There is these conversations that um, young people, especially, it's a different time now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are not being connected with church. The nuns, they call them,
Exactly.
they have no religion. Uh, not Baptist method, they're nuns, Nones.
They want something spiritual, but they don't want religion.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is used to we talked about seeker friendly and
Oh,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff. But I think these types of conversations that we have on a week to week basis are that. I think it's accessible. I think it's a way that someone can come in and say, they keep talking. I do want to learn more about this, but it's not a preaching talking down to someone. It's uplifting conversations and how our lives are better by the connections we have, the family, the friends that we surround ourselves with who lift us up. And I think that that's the type of programming here that maybe you don't always see on a public television, or you don't see over here. There is an element of the eternal here that we are investing in, and we invite people to partner along with us to like you said, a small grassroots. We're not asking for $1 million, although we won't turn that down. But again, with just being able to have the conversation, in anything helps.
Right.
And just know that money spent on this ministry is because it's still a ministry. It's doing a good work, and I think it's money well spent.
I've been reading a book by Brene Brown about leadership, and she has a chapter in there that
Do you read?
Yeah, I do read.
You read a lot. I know.
do.
I'm just messing.
I know. But she has this conversation she's having with a leadership guru, and they're talking about in an organization the difference between leadership and management. And she said a phrase that to me just kind of finds its way right into this conversation. She said, leadership is both plumbing and poetry. And as we're doing some plumbing work here, folks.
We are.
We're just trying to think of how do we build the infrastructure to be able to share the beautiful poetry that we have in our stories. And you can't really have one without the other. One is we enjoy a lot more. One we focus on, but the other is absolutely necessary. And so one of my minister mentors always said, the only money you don't get is the money you don't ask for.
Well, you have not because you ask not.
That's it.
And again, week to week to week, I mean, just a vague mention at the very end. We don't do ask all the time.
No.
But I think even now, I think that's what the Holy Spirit does. If you're still listening, maybe God has you listening for a reason and saying, you know what, I can send a little bit and help that. I think sometimes there are holy intersections, there are holy appointments, divine appointments, and I just encourage folks, whenever I've been in those situations and I'm compelled to give in different directions, and I feel those things, that never returns void. It's not a prosperity gospel kind of thing, but it's the blessings that I have when we are generous and we give and we help people. Some people, all they have is money, and they don't have lots of relationships, and they are looking for ways to invest and do something. We would like to help with that, and partner with us, and not just in name, but emails and connection where we can tell you good things that are happening. And some of the conversations we want to have in the future, really, really good things ahead, and we're just trying to lay some of that groundwork where we can
to have the plumbing that we can do that.
I was trying not to go back to the plumbing metaphor, but that's
well, as I'm thinking into this, one of the things that I truly have admired about organizations that are successful is that they unabashedly let people know their need and then rely on people's generosity to give.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing. Our big vision, my big vision for this is, as the difference grows, I would love for us to be so financially fit that we can invest more of our time helping other organizations bring resources to their ministries.
Right.
I mean, we try to tell people stories and tell people where to give and what to do, but it would be such a delight not to kind of have to look over our shoulders and say, well, are we good for this month, or who do I need to call? And creating a stable flow. And our board has been very supportive and generous, and we've had people for decades who have given. But the pool from which we draw from is changing, and so we're having to refigure out how do we adapt to that and invite you. And so one of the things we'll be doing the first of the year is looking at some new giving instruments. We've got a consultant helping us figure out what we can put on the website to let people give electronically and digitally. And so, what we would say is just think and be in prayer about this. I have to say, I'm used to be when we did the hour, we would go places and people were like, "Oh, I know you. You're from the Methodist Hour."
Right.
Well, a couple of times at the farmers market last week, I had a young woman come up and say, "Hey, I listened to that last episode of your podcast, and it was awesome. It was just so entertaining. You and Anthony had such good chemistry."
Oh, we're something.
And and the truth is, we have good chemistry because we love what we do.
And we love each
we
other.
Care for
We
each
care
other.
for each other.
We're
Yeah.
friends, and we've built a friendship over time that's weathered a lot of seasons.
Oh, seasons,
do
okay.
we have stories? We could create a side podcast of different stories and experiences we've had.
But in all fairness, through all of those seasons, the consistent thing is over all these years, we have always pointed people to other ministries and
Exactly.
other needs that people have. And that's one thing that the difference we've always done is we try to point people to ways that they can help someone else.
Richie,
But we have needs too.
Richie, our treasurer, is all the time. He ministers to me. I'll call and say,
I
"How are
love
we doing,
Richie.
Richie?" And he'll say, "Brother Steve, God has always been faithful.
Yeah.
I always see it as a witness the way God just kind of brings the resources in when we need it. So just know God's going to take care of it." And I don't say that as kind of a backdoor trick. I mean, that's really been the case. We're firm believers that when we're honoring what God has called us to do, God helps the resources for that to happen. And part of our responsibility is to bring voice to that. And that's what we're doing today. And we don't want it to come across heavy-handed. We want it to come across of, listen, we love what we're doing.
Yeah.
We want to keep doing it.
Right.
Help us.
And also, one thing that so much of my life, because I couldn't afford to hire people to help and all, so I did all of my productions basically by myself. Even if I hired a young person to help me film a wedding, did all the editing, all the things, because I always had to. So I grew up having to be a jack of all trades because I couldn't afford anything else. And my wife and children, are now producers in their own rights because I needed free labor. But what I realized over all these years, and I remember when Sydney was the youngest and we used to have to caption the hour. That was a process of sitting at a computer with the transcript of the program and having to hit enter where the text on the captions on the bottom of the screen would be on at the right time. And you have to watch the show and hit enter. So when Keith would say this line, you hit enter. I used to make my children do the captioning because by that point I had seen all of that editing about 3 times and I didn't want to watch it again. So I would put my children, even though, and I remember Sydney, it was like pulling teeth. She's like, "Daddy, I don't want to do this." And she was so young. I had those glasses and all. But now, on the other side of all of this, by including her in all of these processes and all, I mean, both of my children have won regional Emmys on documentary projects.
And as we're talking, Brian is producing our show right now.
Exactly. But by giving them an opportunity to participate, and I'm having to learn at MC, hey, we're doing this film. Yeah, I could do that. What if I got a student plugged in? Student may not do it quite like I would do it or something. It may be a little hassle with trying to help manage that, but there's value in participation. There's
Listen
value
to our last podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Nate, who he recorded an album in our studio. He worked sound on a film that we did with Michael Ferris Smith. He has done numerous projects. Is in the animation project right now that he's finishing up. and it's going to premiere at our Story Fest. He's a lot of wonderful things. There's value in allowing people a chance to participate, and I say all that to say this, that sometimes we rob people of an opportunity for joy for being a part of something. And I don't, and I'm totally serious about this, I don't want to rob people by not asking and saying, give and be a part of what we're doing. Send us encouragement, not just financial gift. I mean, but let us know you're listening. Let us know that if something, hey, what you said really spoke to me, or I wish y'all would do a program on this, and what are y'all thoughts on this topic, and
Right.
let us have a discussion on that, or maybe suggestions of, hey, I can hook you up with this person who would be a good guest or something. I want people to be able to participate with what we're doing because this is fun.
It is fun. And I think, the other thing in those veins, as we post the podcast, as we're now doing the video that goes with the podcast, as you listen, please take time and like and share. You hear people say that, and it was
Right.
like, but that's the support element.
That's how it gets
also
out there.
helps that it spreads and changes the distribution by your affirmation and engagement.
Right. Make a comment.
Exactly.
A good comment.
And it also helps us. I mean, I keep somebody say something. Come on.
Yeah.
But people say it to us in person, but in this medium, it needs you to interact
Right.
in order for us to continue to grow and to expand those who have access to what we're doing.
And we do. You want to be connected. I mean, you and I are free for lunch. I mean, give to what we're doing and participate and connect with us.
And invite me to preach at your church. And
That's another thing. Yeah.
Invite us to come and speak to your groups in your church to share what we're trying to do, and to draw people in. That's we had said earlier when we were a preaching ministry, there were so many Sunday school classes that regularly used Keith's Sunday school lesson, and later when we started doing it, and the tools that we're going to start creating in the next year are going to be some more resources that you'll be able to share.
Yeah.
We're going to do some courses. We're going to do some just inspirational stuff, some encouraging stuff, as well as our regular podcast.
Yeah. So all of that coming, we're drawing this to a close. So how do you encourage people to respond?
Well, first, pray about it. I mean, this is the whole thing. You listen to something like this, and then you're either turned on or off. But what I would say is just pray. LaRue Owen taught me what he called the desire prayer. It says, increase in me the appetite for the things you want me to do, and decrease in me the appetite for the things you don't. And that's a simple prayer. If God's not asking you to support it, don't. If he is, do. And just know this, we've received our call, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep doing this, because not only does it bring us joy, but we also think it serves a purpose.
Right.
And is something that's needed in our culture, to hear good stories about good people who are doing good things.
And they can go to thehour.org and watch programming. And we've got new venues of some of this coming, that new programming, new stuff. So all of that's going to be good. But there are things there now. So thehour.org, and there's a way to click and give and information and an address if you want to send a check and that kind of thing. So there are ways to connect, but look at some more of the history of what we've done all these years. Look at some of that content, look at some of that programming, and enjoy that. And if you're a fan of Keith Tonkel and things, but these programs with Josh Raggio and Robert St. John and Tony Campolo and all these things, we've got lots of programming there. So thehour.org, and that's the easiest way to click in and find a way to support us.
Right. And we'll, if we can, attach to this the address that of our post office box.
Sure.
And later on, we'll be giving you opportunities to be able to give in different ways. But thank you for giving us this time.
Yeah.
And we consider this a good story because we think the ministry that we're in is worthy of support and encouragement and being able to grow.
Right.
So, I look forward to what we're going to do next year. And a big thank you to all those who already support us and encourage. I just ask you to please continue and be in prayer for us because this is too much fun to stop.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Let
and
us
as
hear
always,
from you.
Yeah, let us hear from you. And thanks for listening. And as always, hey, live loved.
You've been listening to The Difference, a presentation of The Hour. The Difference is made in conjunction with and partnership with the Institute for Southern Storytelling at Mississippi College. To find out more about the Institute and ways that we are partnering and mentoring young lives through storytelling, filmmaking, and more, visit us at southernstorytelling.mc.edu. And for more resources from The Hour and from The Difference, check us out at our Hour Stream platform with the streaming content at thehour.org. I'm Anthony Thaxton. Thanks for joining us.